Hi, everybody. I'm D. Lisa West. I'm a dream doula. And this is Christina. Introduce yourself, Christina.
Hi, I'm Cristina Spataro. I'm a psychotherapist and relationship coach, but I also see the value of dreams. So I love what you do.
Oh my gosh. Before we get going, I just want to share with you. Yesterday, I had 3 people share their dreams with me, and it was so fun. 2 did it on my podcast. And so
Oh,
watch for that later. And
okay.
then one just randomly heard that I was a dream doula, and she ran up after an event we were both in, and she says, I got to
Okay.
tell you a dream, but I'll be right back. And then she went and did something, and she came back and told me an amazing dream that seemed so real to
Ooh,
her. Hmm.
I like it.
I feel like it's such an honor if someone shares their dream with me. If they're
Mhm.
a friend, if they're a stranger, if they're one of
Mhm.
my coaching clients, doesn't matter. If they're sharing dreamland with me,
Mhm.
we're connect on a total different level.
I completely agree because I think our dreams are very intimate.
Mm,
They're what we have when we're at our most vulnerable. We're asleep. We're not controlling them. They're just happening.
yeah.
So the idea is that you are taking, and they could have all kinds of meanings, which people might read into, not read into. So the problem is we don't know how the person we're describing our dream to is going to receive it. So when we tell somebody our dream, we are trusting them with a very intimate part of ourselves.
Yes. Yes. But today we're not going to talk about dreaming. We're going
Yeah,
to
we're
talk
not.
about dressing.
Yes.
Tell me your thoughts. You go first.
So I was just thinking, because right before we started, we were talking about, you're saying we were talking about what we should wear or whatever. And I was thinking, are we dressing for ourselves or for other people? Now, and especially, I'm going to put this out there. I think this is especially a dilemma for women.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because
I,
guys,
yeah,
I mean, unless you're a model or an actor
right,
or maybe a handsome young gay fellow,
right,
you don't
right.
really care what you're wearing. You're a
Yeah.
guy, you're a boy, you just put on your jeans and your shirt and you go do your thing.
And you're fine. But for women, it can be so fraught.
Yep.
It's like, well, we want something that we feel good in, that we look good in, but then we're worried we think this looks good, but well, somebody else thinks it looks good. How will we be judged? Will we be judged by what we're wearing or how we're wearing it? There's just, and you're right. While there are men, and I actually do know one who actually is very concerned about what to wear. And I joke with him, I said, you're more of a girl than I am.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
I've thought about dressing most of my life when I was a teenager. My sister and I decided it was not okay to wear the same
mhm,
outfit twice in the same
right,
week. So we
right.
wrote down what we wore every day and tried not to wear it in the same week, and then try not to wear it in the same 2 weeks. It
Right,
was okay to wear the top with a different bottom, but
right.
not the same outfit. And that was high school, and you know how high school kids can be so
Mhm.
cruel.
Oh gosh,
And and so we made a lot of our own clothes. And so we had the ability to really, decide
mix
what
and
what we
match.
were wearing in a pretty powerful, you know,
Mhm.
way that we got to choose. And then I remember thinking as a young woman, I worked in these businesses that were mostly
Mhm.
men, and it was dirty and you had to pick up heavy
Mhm.
things, and there was a thing you wore to work. There was like a work uniform, but you could jazz
Mm.
it up a little. You
Right.
could have the very best top of the line insulated freezer suit, or you could just have the freezer suit that, yeah, whatever.
Mhm.
And then I was a real estate broker for 35 years, and
Mhm.
I was told what to wear. I was told to wear a suit or a dress
Mhm.
with a jacket. I was told to wear heels with nylons
Mhm.
and to have my fingernails groomed and my hair cut nicely. So they wanted
Mhm.
the whole professional look, which would,
Right.
1980s. Yeah, big hair, big shoulder pads. It
Mhm.
was crazy. But I did do a little exercise where I wore something kind of frumpy, or I
Mhm.
wore something kind of what you would expect someone to wear if they were at work. And people
Mhm.
treated me differently.
Mm.
They treated me differently. I went to the same store in the same week, once with a toddler on my hip, just wearing my regular clothes,
Mhm.
once dressed for school and or school, dressed for my job.
Right.
And dressed for my job, I went into the shop and said, "Oh, can I use your bathroom?" They're like, "Sure, it's back there." Dressed as a mom with a toddler, "Can I use your bathroom?" No.
Mm.
No, no,
No.
we don't
No.
have, it's just for employees only. I was like,
Wow.
wow. So maybe it was just a different person, but I thought it was the way I was dressed.
I think it does have an impact. Like there actually are organizations, like called Bottomless Closet, and other people who will have clothes for women trying to re-enter the workforce.
Yeah.
Either they have been out of the workforce or for a variety of reasons. And the whole idea is so that you can look appropriate. So you may have all the skills, you may have everything, but maybe, I don't know, you took an economic downturn. And so you may not have the fancy suits and stuff. So you've got to put on, we talked about the other week of people putting on the layers on us, putting the
Yeah.
coats on us, putting things on us that aren't us because they feel that's what it should be. And I think clothing, especially for women, is so much about that. We have the magazines, we have social media, we have all these things telling women, this is what you look like, this is what you should look like. And if you don't look like this, you are not acceptable.
Right. Yes. In our society, it's totally acceptable to be fit and
Mhm.
trim.
Right.
If you're heavy set or God forbid, obese,
Right.
what do you wear then? How do you look pretty?
Exactly. Exactly. And just, I can't help it. I've got like two movies running through my brain.
Okay, I'm getting my notes out.
I'm going to do that. So this was an old movie. Oh, God. It's weird how the years just sort of blend. I'm not sure if it's 1990s or 2000s now, but I feel like I'm trying to think, was it that old? No. It's a movie called Shallow Hal, and it stars Jack Black in an early role with Gwyneth Paltrow. So I'm doing a spoiler here. So the premise of the movie sets up with the idea that Jack Black's character, Hal, is extremely shallow. Like he will literally only look at women's appearances, like won't look at anything else. And he meets up, I forget exactly how, with Tony Robbins of all people. And Tony Robbins does this like almost like a hypnosis thing so that he will start to see inner beauty. But it works so well that he literally will only see the beauty that's inside the person. So he meets Gwyneth Paltrow's character. Now, we all know Gwyneth Paltrow, completely gorgeous, whatever, definitely the epitome of fit. But in the movie, so he sees, wow, this drop dead gorgeous thin blonde woman. We, the audience, see, because then they show us when she's not being seen through the eyes of Hal, that she's very heavy set. So beautiful soul, but in a heavy set woman. So the idea that he's seeing this inner beauty, and it also is, and then he sees all these other people who are just completely beautiful, and then other people he sees as ugly, but then the audience shows, wait a minute, they're not, because he's seeing the inner beauty. So for instance, she volunteers at a children's hospital and she brings him along and he's having a great time with the kids and playing with them. And he's like, wow, I can't believe these kids are sick. They are like so incredible, like so it's just so sweet and wonderful. So doing a spoiler, his friend, who's still pretty shallow. I want to say it was played by Jason Alexander. So he actually feels that when he sees how hanging out with people who are not, let's say, attractive, he starts thinking there's something wrong with his friend and gets Tony Robbins and tells Tony Robbins, you've messed up his life. You've got to undo this. So he undoes it. But what's interesting is now all these people he saw were beautiful. You could see why he thought they were beautiful. Like, for instance, he goes back to the children's ward. It turns out they were all burn victims. And you see the kids with the scars, and everybody else would reject them and not want to touch them. But these are beautiful kids inside. And then
I love that. I love that. Now I got to watch that movie. Plus, I love Jack Black.
I know. So it just made me think of that. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's sort of the part two when we were talking about the coats people force on us. So the fashion people force on us. You will not be acceptable unless you wear this outfit, or you are this thin, you are that. And you're missing out on some beautiful people.
Right. The other thing I think is interesting about young kids now don't want fast fashion. And do you
Right.
know what that is? Fast fashion
No,
is just
educate me.
every year they're churning out new colors and new
Right.
styles, and they're making it in factories where people are not treated well, and people buy it, it's crappy, and then next year there's something more, a different
Right.
colors and style. But I looked in my closet the other day. These glasses are turquoise, and I have one shirt that's kind of the same color. I want to buy another shirt that's this color. It's
Right.
impossible. This
Right.
color's not in style. It's a 10-year-old color.
Wow. But I think it's pretty. I like the color.
Thank you. I'd love, if anybody knows how to find this color in a shirt or a t-shirt, hit me up. I want more of
Let
this
her
color.
know.
But this is the color that's in style now. It's like, I would say this is the color they paint GMC engines, Jimmy Green, GMC green. Um, but I don't like this color, but it's the latest color that I can buy. So
Interesting.
colors come in and out of fashion,
Yes.
styles come in and out of fashion, and then there's another underlying thing that women think about, in our country at least. Am I wearing something that's too revealing?
Mm.
Is this revealing outfit going to get me in trouble? Because we've been hypnotized to think that the way we're dressed creates
Yes.
men's reaction to us. Like, they'll just be so out of control. They'll just like grab us and have sex with us against our will. What the hell? What is that all about? Like, if I want to wear a revealing outfit, shouldn't it just be okay?
Because it's your body.
Yeah,
So, yes,
it should be
exactly.
okay.
It should
Although
totally be okay.
I remember being a little kid, well, teenager, walking around back in the 70s.
Mhm.
Braless was the look, and I think it's back now for young people. And I went down to the mall, around the mall, walking back home, and a old elderly man followed me around and asked me, while looking at my breasts, looking at my breasts, looking at my breasts, "Are you wearing a bra?" I was like, "No." And then I like walked away thinking, he's so creepy. Why is he
Yeah.
asking me that? That's not appropriate. Would I
Also,
ask him if
none
he's
of his
wearing
business.
underwear? Like,
Yeah.
what? Get away. I didn't have the wherewithal then at age 14 to say, "Get away from me. You're a creep."
Yeah.
Instead, I
I
went,
get it.
"No, thanks for asking." I wondered, like, I was trying to be polite to
Right.
a freaking weirdo stranger. What's
Right. You were
oh,
trying to be polite towards an impolite question.
right, right. The other thing is about clothing. Someone told me once when I was in the middle of my real estate career, and I was wearing some kind of designer suit or
Mhm.
dress, and this woman said, "Oh my God, D. Lisa, I love that dress." I said,
Mm.
"Thank you." And she said, "You know, women dress for other women. Men don't really notice what we're wearing. But
That's
you're wearing an
interesting.
outfit. If you ever wear an outfit that the kids would call fly, looking fly, you will say, a woman says, I love that. A woman says, I love that. A woman says, I love that. 9 times a man will say, that's a cool color.
You're right.
Yeah. So we dress for other women, or we dress for the jobs we have.
Hmm.
When do we start dressing for ourselves?
Excellent question. So, can we be revolutionary here? Can we say to our audience, embrace dressing for yourself? When you put on an outfit, how do you feel in it? Do you like how it looks on you? Is this something you want to wear? You know, we actually, at the same time we knock people for what they're dressed, we also have this admiration for people who aren't afraid to buck the system, as it were,
Yeah.
or to be individuals, or to say, to heck with it, I'm going to wear what I want and not let other people dictate to me. Now, it is really hard because human beings, by very nature, are very social. And there is a lot of conformity that goes on. And if you ever notice, you notice how we have like all these futuristic movies, one of the hallmarks is everybody's always dressed exactly the same. There's
Yes, right. There's an outfit. The
yes,
whole collective is wearing like the spacesuit or whatever.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Mm. Mm. On the other hand, there's something to be said about how our society sees people in uniform, because
Mm-hmm.
mostly they're in positions of power, like
Yes.
policemen,
Yes.
firemen,
Yes.
people that can give us traffic tickets,
Mm-hmm.
parking tickets. And they
Mm-hmm.
did a study in the state of Washington. They were having a problem at the ferry docks where people were so upset that they drive up, they're late, they're missing their ferry. That means maybe they wait for 45 minutes, maybe they wait for several hours for the next ferry. And what they
Right.
found was people would get really mad at the people taking the money for the tickets, and they would curse at them, they would throw things at them, they would
Mm.
berate them, and obviously they should have left earlier
Yeah.
to catch their
Blame the
ferry.
poor person. Yeah.
And so they had them change from wearing whatever they wanted to, maybe white shirt, gray pants or whatever, to wearing a uniform that had epaulets on the top. So they looked like they were captains of something,
Interesting.
and the abuse went down 90%. Now, don't quote me on that number. A,
No,
a
no, no.
great amount, but
I agree with you because there is something about the uniform. In fact, do you ever notice like private schools or exclusive schools? What's one of the things they have? Uniforms.
mm-hmm,
You
yeah,
know, even some like charter schools or schools in poor areas, one of the things they have is a type of uniform because that's the idea. It's supposed to breed respect.
yeah.
You
I thought
know,
for kids, I thought for kids in school, the uniform idea was to take away the rich kid versus poor kid reality, but I don't think that actually works.
I think that probably was an underlying point of it for sure. Because if your family's very poor and you're lucky to have a couple of outfits to your name versus somebody who's got a full closet, it's much simpler. It is kind of a leveler if you all have to wear the same uniform.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely other ways the class differences are shown. Um, but yeah, so that's the thing, the uniform. In fact, it reminds me, have you ever heard of the Stanley Milgram experiment?
No, tell me more.
Oh, okay. This is one of those experiments that was conducted in psychology that they could never do today or they'd get sued like crazy. So this was back in the 1960s. And you know, the World War II wasn't so far off. People were still questioning how could people follow this? How could people let what happened happen? And so Stanley Milgram did an experiment where he got these people and told them that they were going to be taught, they were going to be teaching this other group of subjects a new learning technique for vocabulary. And for every word they got wrong, they would get an electric shock. And the more progressively wrong they were, the higher the shock would be. So what the people who were these subjects were supposed to be the teachers didn't know was that the people who were playing the part of student were actually hired actors. And there was no electric shock, but they were to act like they were being shocked because they wanted to see, as the shocks got higher, would people stop or would they follow the authority of the guy in the white lab coat? And what was seriously disturbing was that an overwhelming majority of the subjects who were the teachers were bringing the shock levels higher and higher, despite the fact the actors were acting like they're in total agony and pain, begging them to stop. But because
Right. That's a similar exercise to the there's another exercise, maybe the same psychologist did it. Oh, now it just flew out of my brain. Prisoners, the prisoner one.
that's the Stanford prison study. That's with
Yeah.
different psychologists, but they both were around that same time period. And again, neither one of these studies could be done again, because just the psychological damage that was done to the subjects, because the people who were the teachers were completely messed up by this. It's the psychological damage was done. And the same thing with the Stanford prison study, where they took the basement of Stanford University and they divided up the students. Some would be prisoners and some would be guards. And the ones put in the position of authority as guards actually became very abusive towards the prisoners who before that had been their fellow students.
Yeah. Yeah. So, wow. That is so off topic for what to wear. But yes, thank you for taking us down that rabbit hole. Wow. There's
The
something
power of
else.
the
I guess
uniform.
there's yeah, the power of the uniform and the power that comes with what you think you're wearing. Like there's a different way that I would walk into, let's say, for example, a grocery store. If I was wearing my pajamas and my flip-flops,
Mm-hmm.
or if I was wearing a beautiful dress,
Right.
or if I was wearing an evening gown,
Ooh.
how would I sashay through the store buying whatever I was buying if I was really dressed up versus not really dressed at all? And
Ah,
and I would carry myself differently. I think the clothing makes us feel feel differently. It's like a
yes,
part of the costume that we put on to show the world who we are.
exactly. And depending on what costume we're wearing, it's going to influence how we feel about ourselves and how we're projecting out there.
100%.
You know,
100%.
I remember when I was a little girl, I was a flower girl. And I remember when they put this dress on me and it had this big flowing skirt and I had these little fancy shoes. And I remember looking at the mirror and saying to my mom, I feel like Cinderella.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, it's just something about wearing that fancy dress. It's like a little princess. I loved my twirly skirts. I loved how when you dance, and for a while there, I was really into twirly skirts because I loved the idea that it would twirl when you moved. And so, yes. Now, the key is, again, to go back to our original. Are you dressing for you or are you dressing for other people? If you want to wear your twirly skirts, wear your twirly skirts. If you want to wear your shorts and a tank top, why not wear that?
Yeah, right on. Right on. And I've only recently really fell into wearing comfortable clothes.
Mm-hmm.
For many years, what was expected of me, wearing those suits and nylons and this and that, the latest styles, some of them were very uncomfortable. They were too tight around the waist, but they looked really cute. I would just suck in my stomach all day. Um, or they were scratchy or itchy. I had to send them to the dry cleaners. One
Mm-hmm.
of my girlfriends at the time, bless her heart, she's passed on now. She said to me 30 years ago, we were eating lunch and I was like, oh my God, I got to unbutton my my pants. I said after lunch,
Mhm.
this was a really good lunch. I kind of leaned back and undid the top button in my pants, and she said, I never have to unbutton my pants. And she said, she pulled up her shirt and she pulled out her elastic waist pants. And she's like, I wear elastic waist pants or nothing. And I thought to
Wow.
myself, oh, no, you don't. Elastic waist pants is for old ladies. In my mind, I thought that's wrong.
Right.
Well, if something's too tight around the waist, I do not wear it, period. If something's
Mhm.
scratchy or itchy, I give it away. I don't care how
Yeah.
cool it looks. Not
Right.
going to wear it. No, life is
Yeah.
too short to wear uncomfortable clothes.
Yes. Life is too short to wear uncomfortable clothes. I love that. That's a bar right there. Because uncomfortable could have several meanings.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable in terms of material, in terms of is it scratchy, uncomfortable in terms of if it doesn't feel like you. Life is
Yeah.
too short to not dress for you.
I read a tiny little pamphlet. I wonder if you can still get this book, written by a I'm going to say a stylist and a clothing designer, but I might have those professions wrong. It was a tiny little pamphlet called Simple Isn't Easy. And they talked about what's your style. If you look in your
Mhm.
closet and take everything out of it with a good friend, and
Mhm.
you try every single thing on and you walk across the room, first of all, do you like it? Does it feel good? And your friend
Mhm.
says if it looks good on you or not, honestly. And you make a pile. Clothes that need to be mended, clothes you love and look good on you, clothes that don't look good on you. And you'll get down to this thing where you see a style. One of the people that wrote the book said her style was white shirts, black pants. Her whole closet is filled with white shirts, black pants. She could just reach in and get an outfit. She keeps the pants and the shirt on one hanger, just takes the outfit out, wears it. The
I love
other
them.
woman said she liked dresses, so her whole closet was dresses. So what would it be if you get down to the things you only that you love to wear, that feel good on you, that look good on you, and get rid of the other stuff that's in your closet? Wouldn't it be fun to get dressed?
I like that. So maybe we want to give a challenge to our listeners to do
Right
this
on.
experiment.
Yeah, go in your closet. Well, invite a good friend over who'll
Invite
be
a good
honest
friend
with
over
you.
who'll be honest with you. Go in your closet and then do your strut across the room. So the idea is you have to like it, and then your friend has to agree that looks good on you.
Yeah.
Okay?
So not only, you could try something on, you're standing in front of a mirror. Does that mean you
Right.
like it when you sit down or when you walk? Not all
Right.
the time.
Not all the time.
Yeah.
So you do your strut, you do your sit down, and you see how you feel. Have your friend give their 2 cents to it. Now, if you don't feel quite ready to give everything away, you can get like a box or something and just put it in there. So the outfits that you've agreed are not you, put it in the box. And then put the box to the side. If you have not had an urge to take anything out of that box in a week, donate.
Ooh, I like it. 1 week. I thought you were going to say 1 year.
Because the longer we hesitate, the more we're not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If now, granted, we'll make exceptions for seasonal things. Obviously, you're not going to wear your winter clothes in the thing. So if you really feel like you want to wait till the next season to see if you're actually going to want one of those things, if it's like for that season, fine. But if you have no deep desire for it, chances are you don't need it.
Right on. By the way, this takes an entire afternoon, so you should be prepared with snacks and drinks for your friend because
Exactly.
it's even if you only have a few things in your closet, if you put
Mhm.
every single thing on and wear it and
Mhm.
walk across the room, it takes a while.
Mhm.
It takes a little bit. Oh man, now I want to go in my closet and go through things.
All right. I'm having another movie flash.
Movie flash.
Oh
I'm
my
ready.
goodness. Yes. So did you ever see the movie 27 Dresses with James Marsden and Katherine Heigl?
No.
Okay. So the premise is she's the perennial bridesmaid. She's literally been a bridesmaid to so many people that she has 27 bridesmaids dresses.
That sounds like a
Dresses,
nightmare.
yeah, like dresses she will never wear again. So she starts seeing this guy. There's a whole other subplot in there, but I won't spoil this one too much. So she starts seeing this guy, and and he's asking about this closet she has. And apparently it's where she has all the 27 dresses. So there's this montage because all of these were different types of weddings. We're talking Gone with the Wind, Southern Belle theme, nautical theme. I mean, you name the theme wedding, she had the dress for it. So there's a montage where she goes through all the dresses and she's, doing it in front of him. So it just reminds me of that. She's doing all these different dresses. And again, it was interesting because she was the one that they would always go to, that she was the go-to Jane, like whatever you needed for your wedding, whatever, they all kept choosing her. And was she really living the life she wanted to? So it was related to that because she was putting on the dress of the perennial best friend who would do everything for everybody else, but she wasn't taking care of herself.
Wow, yeah. Well, that's for another conversation. What do you do with the dress that you bought for one special occasion?
Mm-hmm.
So many things. So many things
Oh,
pop into my artist brain. So thank you for talking about clothing today. And it was so fun to think about what we wear, why we wear it, who we
yeah.
wear it for, and why we're not finally, as women who are emancipated, wearing
Mhm.
whatever the F we want to.
Exactly.
Why aren't we? Let's try it.
Why aren't
Let's do
we?
it.
Let's go for it.
Right on, Christina. Thanks for your time today. We'll talk
You
again
too.
soon.
Definitely.